have to be honest, there's really nothing that would get me up at 3 or 5 in the morning except the prospect of travel. I'm hoping you'll join me today as I make my way from Kelowna, BC to Vancouver to my final destination of Seoul, South Korea on Air Canada's Premium Economy class. Here I am, my name is Emily, I'm one of Ewan and Monique's daughters. I may be slightly camera shy, but I've been an aviation enthusiast since ages ago, and I'm hoping you'll join me as we put Air Canada's Premium Economy class to the test. My day is starting off in beautiful Kelowna, BC, as I hop on board this Air Canada Express de Havilland to Vancouver. In a recent survey, Air Canada ranked among the lowest of North American airlines in customer satisfaction for their business, first and premium class. So let's put them to the test today and see if that's really fair. On my way back, I'm flying in economy, so it'll give us a chance to directly compare whether or not paying up to 30% more is really worth it. Now, Vancouver Airport is Canada's third largest after Montreal and Toronto, and frankly, it's a really lovely airport. I mean, just look at this fish wall. This morning I have quite a long layover, and as mesmerizing as these fish are to watch, I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy spending my time in the Mapleleaf Lounge a little bit more, so that's where we're heading next. Now, a premium economy ticket does not give you immediate access to the lounge, but if you are a Star Alliance member with the right status, you can either access or pay to enter. And I'm so glad I did. The food was really wonderful, and it was a lovely and quiet, peaceful space to spend some time. And I honestly had so much fun just watching the aircrafts move in and out. Honestly, if you do have a long layover, I highly recommend visiting this lounge. It was a wonderful, quiet place to wait for my flight and escape some of the chaos that can be a departure lounge. One thing to note is it doesn't open or close at the same time each day, so keep that in mind depending on your travel. Before I knew it, it was time to head towards my gate, and I got the first glimpse of my aircraft as it was being loaded up. Today I'm flying this Boeing 777 in this lovely blue paint scheme. Fun fact, Air Canada has 25 of these aircraft. One of the benefits of premium economy is priority boarding. You also get priority check-in and priority baggage handling, and they boast a wider seat with more recline, 7 inches of leg room, more than what you'd get in economy, which if you're tall like me is a real benefit, as well as 2 checked in bags for free. And here we go, first glimpse of my seat. I am in 12A today. You do kind of see it is a much comfier looking seat, and look at this legroom. I feel a little bit like I'm just bragging at this point, but here's a view of the legroom again, and for reference, I am 5'10". Now here's a look at some of the additional goodies that you get. Of course, an amenity kit. You also get a bottle of water and some headphones. I am now making a mental note to ask my dad what headphones he uses. He's always going on about his noiseless headphones, and I definitely need a pair because these aren't great. Here is an unboxing of the amenity kit. It is in a kind of shopping bag, which honestly isn't overly glamorous, but it does come in handy, and I ended up using it a lot throughout the trip. Standard eye mask as well. And of course, kind of the expected fare for an amenity kit, some socks, a dental kit, and some foam earplugs. Nothing too fancy, but always nice to have. Now, when I was checking in at Kelowna, I did ask them if this flight was overly full, and he said that there were actually a ton of seats available. So for a short moment in time, I did wonder if maybe I wouldn't have anyone next to me. That moment was very brief because it turned out to be a very full flight. I know this is such a random thing to shout out, but I think Air Canada has done such a great job with their safety videos. It does such a wonderful job of showing off some of Canada's beauty and the difference between each province. Now, Air Canada might not have the shiniest of reputations when it comes to leaving on time, and in fact, in 2023, only 63% of their flights did in fact leave on time, so I was pleasantly surprised when we began to taxi right on schedule. One of the things that always strikes me whenever I'm at an airport is just the sheer scale of the operation, the amazing work that the ground staff do to keep every moving piece rolling, especially if you consider, for example, in Vancouver Airport, 24.9 million people pass through it every year, and it employs a staggering 26,000 people. And here we are, ready to rumble pretty much right on time. Now, granted, I am sitting next to the engine, but it's around this moment where I realise quite how loud the 777 is, and again, I'm regretting not having those noise cancelling headphones my dad is always going on about. So let's check out the entertainment system. A really good selection of TV and movies with a bunch of new releases. And one of my favourite bits is the Your Trip section, where you can find your flight map. I don't know why, it's always just kind of fun following along where you're going. And they have a picture-in-picture option, so you can be watching your favourite movie and also see where it is that you are on the map. I don't know why this entertained me so much, but it really did. The screen also has a USB port and, of course, a jack for your headphone. Shortly after takeoff, we were offered a hot towel, which is always lovely and refreshing. And of course, I had to order my go-to Clamato juice. Something about it just tastes even better when you're drinking it in the air with this type of view. And if you've not tried these pretzels, they are really delicious. Soon after we were served our first meal. I actually pre-selected my meal a few days in advance via the Air Canada app, and I chose this shepherd's pie, and it came with a nice brownie and celery salad. I received quite a lot of cutlery, but it was nice having proper metal utensils, and the meal was okay. Nothing to write home about, but again, any lunch with this view is fine by me. Not too long after dinner service, the lights were dimmed and it was kind of the signal that it was bedtime. So I changed into some slightly more comfortable clothes and, wishful me, thought I was going to get tons of sleep. I did not. But shout out to compression socks, I would not fly without them. Now, the cabin crew guarded the business class area quite firmly, so we had to use the toilets in the rest of the aircraft. Unfortunately, one of them, the tap wasn't working, and I only realised that after I had already put soap in my hands. But they had a wonderful dish of these alcohol wipes, which came in handy. And fun fact, if you are nauseous, apparently smelling alcohol wipes helps get rid of that sick feeling. So top tip for next time you're traveling. Yeah. But luckily, after watching tons more TV, we only had about 2 hours left, and here I am just checking in on New Zealand and mum and dad, who will likely at this time have been on their way to Auckland to then hop on their plane to join me. With about an hour and a half left, we were then served our breakfast. You might note there on the side there is a tuna looking sandwich that we were served halfway through as our snack. Some nice bamboo biodegradable cutlery. And my breakfast this morning was a omelette with some potatoes and some fruit on the side. It was pretty good, actually. I thought it was quite delicious. It also came with this kind of tomatoey saucy thing. And I actually think I preferred this than my first meal. In premium economy, your first meal is always a bit fancier, similar to what you'd receive in first class, and your second meal is what you would get in just plain old economy. It felt very soon that we were then arriving into Seoul Incheon's airport. At this stage, I was beyond tired, but also beyond excited to just be here. So my thoughts on Air Canada's premium economy? It's okay. The staff and service was alright, as was the food. The seat is definitely comfortable and the extra recline is nice. Plus, I'll never say no to extra leg room. Though I have a feeling having a footrest would have made it extra comfy and led to much better sleep. All in all, it's okay. It's definitely nice having those benefits of priority check-in and priority boarding. But right now I'm not overwhelmed or wowed by anything. But that might change when I experience economy on my way home. And here we are again, back for more adventure. I'm back in Incheon Airport after an amazing trip in South Korea. If you ever do get a chance to visit, I'd highly recommend it. But today I'm flying back to Vancouver on Air Canada's economy. It gives us a great chance to see how premium economy stacks up to the slightly downgraded economy class. Now, one of the main differences between premium and economy is priority check-in. You don't get such luxuries with just economy class, but I have arrived to the airport at around 2:30, so I have plenty of time to make my way through check-in and then security. And to be honest, this queue actually moved really quickly. I did see this sign and it did make me wonder how many gochujang paste incidents occurred before they had to put this sign here. The check-in staff were really friendly and it was very efficient, and we were given paper boarding passes, which I don't know, felt kind of retro. I immediately made my way through to the gates, and this is huge. It is a huge airport and it was a little bit overwhelming, but I was able to fit in some last minute shopping before taking a peek at my aircraft, another Boeing 777. Before long, it was time to board, and this process, despite not having priority boarding, actually went very quickly. 감사합니다. And while I wish I could make my way down the business class tunnel, made my way down into the economy class. And very quickly we were boarding. Not much of a welcome from the staff, more just kind of being pointed in the right direction. I'm 51K, so I have to make my way quite far down the aircraft. The configuration is 343, which actually, if you're in the middle section, isn't too bad, because it does just mean you are ever only hopping over one person, as opposed to if you are three and you're having to hop over two others. Then I awkwardly have a look out the window as I wait for the people in my area to take their seats. I didn't actually select 51K. I think I just got lucky to have the emergency door seat because it did again kind of give me a lot of leg room. And it was again fun watching the aircraft getting loaded up. Checking in on the time, our departure time was set for 6 p.m. and that is about the time that we started to taxi away. Now, Incheon is a huge airport and it took us a very long time. 15 minutes later and we were still making our way towards the final runway. Honestly, it was probably another additional 15 minutes before we finally made it to our runway spot, and then we are getting ready to take off on this slightly misty day here at Incheon, but I think it just adds to the mystical effect of this wonderful takeoff. Once we break through the clouds and get to our cruising altitude, we are greeted by these very fluffy looking clouds. At this point, I am feeling a bit smug again about my legroom, though the seat is definitely noticeably smaller and not quite as comfy as premium economy. Shortly after, we were served our meal, and I was surprised we were given an advert. The meal was okay, a chicken teriyaki and potato dish. But again, any meal that is accompanied by this view is a-okay by me. I of course had to order my classic clamato juice, and while it didn't come in a fancy glass cup, it was still just as delicious, and again, you can't beat this view. Slightly embarrassingly, I couldn't figure out how to get my screen, and I didn't want to disturb the woman next to me who was sleeping, so I ended up reading most of the flight. I attempted to sleep, but alas, I could not. The seat just was not quite comfortable enough. Before I knew it though, we were being served breakfast, a omelette with sausage, potatoes, and some fruit on the side. Unfortunately, it was green eggs for me, not the most appetizing looking, and I do kind of regret not asking the staff, but to be honest, at this point I was so overtired I really couldn't be bothered. And one thing about the staff is they just always seemed so frantically busy, and I kind of really didn't want to disturb them. One thing I also noticed was the plastic utensils. Interesting that they used bamboo in premium economy for that second meal. It'd be interesting to see if they make that change in economy as well. Always absolutely stunning to fly back over Canada and have those mountain views. And as we're coming in to Vancouver and my trip is coming to its end, I can't help but reminisce over premium economy and how it compares to just plain old economy class. My final thoughts on both legs, economy and premium, the staff and the service kind of felt the same. There was something kind of frantically busy about the staff in both sections, so they didn't really seem to be around very much. Economy seats definitely much less comfortable, and honestly, if you have the budget or you have the points, upgrading to premium economy is always going to be a good option. But that is just one tired traveler's opinion, and I would love to hear yours. Have you flown premium economy with Air Canada? How do you think it stacks up compared to its other international counterparts? And also, if you have flown with them, what do you think they could be doing to make things a little bit better? I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments down below, and I hope you enjoyed this video. It was so much fun filming it and sharing my experience with you, and I'd love to do it again sometime soon. So make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you again for another adventure.